Here's a guy that gets it done. Let me tell you, he puts out the Horrow Sports Brief every week and then usually hops on a plane and takes off to some exotic locale. Don't know what that will be today. I hope it's not Baltusrol, where you'd be quite soggy, Professor. Where do we find you this morning?
Jupiter, Florida, a little bit of tennis, a little bit of racquetball, a little bit of British Open on television from the women's side, then a little bit of men's watching the electrical storms and everybody killing time. It is a wonderful day.
We're looking at a Monday finish, aren't we?
Maybe a Tuesday finish.
No.
It is possible. You know, it was interesting because Kerry Haig, who is a great fellow and a guy at the PGA of America, they got a great staff. And he said something on Thursday saying, boy, we were lucky. Storms all around us. We got through it. Well, the gods don't like that. You don't say that after one day. You may say that after 4 days.
No.
So when you look at the radar, it's like, I'm not sure. And I know this is a lot different. People getting up on the West Coast, not even seeing the sun yet. But they're not going to see the sun in Jersey. They're starting. If you look at the radar, it's going to look great. And there are a lot of algorithms now. It is interesting. One of these days, we're going to talk a little bit about how they really do crank out exactly the start times and finish times for television, who says what, and how they evolved it. But this is a classic case of doing this on the fly, and it'll be on the fly. The only good thing about this date maybe is about $80 to $90 million, Jim, of economic impact for Jersey for a 6-day event and a 4-day tournament. Now we've got probably an 8-day event and a 6-day tournament, so you spread it out a little bit.
Well, do they really lose any money in this? Maybe some merchandise dollars, but everything else really pretty much in place. The weather is not going to really hurt the till at the end of the day, is it?
Well, yesterday, they stopped the event to 2:11, so everybody who was there. I'm not sure about the ticket policy for yesterday. My sense is that they don't give a refund after, you could be there for 8 hours if you wanted to be.
Right.
So, and today people are there, and so they'll figure out some discount or free for Monday or Tuesday. Those people buy merchandise. And, of course, people in hotels, you don't get refunds. Right. So the restaurants and hotels, they'll get the benefit of an extra 2 days.
Speaking of losing money, the NBA has officially pulled the plug on Charlotte now. The league announced plans to relocate the 2017 All-Star Game. Looks like it's going to New Orleans, and they say that they hope to be able to reschedule the All-Star Game in Charlotte for 2019. This is due to the state's controversial LGBT law, a.k.a. the bathroom bill. How much money is that going to cost the city of Charlotte?
Maybe $80 to $100 million or even more. And also the loss of one of the first big sports businesses to pull the plug. There have been a lot of conventions that have been doing that on a regular basis over the last couple of months. So ACC Commissioner John Schwartz told ESPN that the ACC championship is still going to be held at Bank of America Stadium, but not so sure. A lot of events still have to cross the threshold. And when you play chicken with a league, it's not a good thing. You remember a few years ago, Phoenix had the Super Bowl yanked because of Martin Luther King's holiday and the Arizona government refusing to celebrate it. They had it back, but they'll never gain the event they originally lost. Just like Charlotte will never get back the 2017 economic windfall that they would have had.
Now moving to the NFL. The NFL has got a couple of things that they want to try during the preseason this year. One of them is narrowing the goalposts. I think we're all okay with that. That's not a big change to the game. But computer chips inserted into the kicking balls used during preseason. We've heard a lot about chips going into the footballs. What are they hoping to measure with these computer chips in footballs?
Well, it's interesting. The first thing they want to measure is the ability to keep narrowing the goalposts. And what happens? They're going to have a readout of every kick, extra point, field goal, and whether it was center, how it would have made it or missed it if they had the narrow goalpost, and make a decision on how narrow the goalpost really ought to be. But then you open up some interesting possibilities. Those field goals that go right over the top of the bar, are they good? Are they not good? Do you go to replay and do you use the chips? And they're not ready for it yet. But how about first downs? The dreaded first down marker gone, maybe the change gone. Is that possible? Even if you have the technology to do it. I still think we ought to keep the chains for the next 6,000 years just because we've had them and everybody's used to them.
I agree with you. I don't want to see the chain gang go away either, even if you do have the chip. And I suppose at the end of the day, you could have the chip deciding on touchdowns at the goal line if they set up the rest of the field that way. Rick Horrow is the professor. We talk about the business of sports with him. T-Mobile Arena currently showcasing the NBA's Summer League and Team USA, but soon the arena is going to be squarely focused on Las Vegas' very first ever major pro sports franchise. Could this become one of the league's top draws, Las Vegas, right away, with people coming from all over the country to see their team play in Vegas?
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting way to look at it because I'm not sure that casinos like the idea of 40-some-odd home days every year taking people away from gambling. They say they do. We'll see long term. Obviously, the first Major League Professional Pro Sports franchise in Vegas, and it was done in large part to capture the market and also beat the Raiders in if the Raiders ever were going to go in. And an idea of it's a mega event town, but is it a regular, sustaining, corporately supported NBA or NHL town? Well, we're going to have to see.
Up next, I want to talk about the power of the swoosh. The United States Olympic basketball team has taken its official team picture, and only the Nike swooshes are visible in the picture. As a matter of fact, you've even got some of the players bending in kind of funny poses or stuff like that to cover up some of the logos. Did Nike buy the rights to the photo?
Yeah, well, look very carefully. No, but look very carefully. You'll see, if you want a conspiracy theory, you've got Kyle Lowry and Harrison Barnes with the Adidas brands. You've got Klay Thompson with Anta, the Chinese brand. You've got the Nike guys trying to protect the Nike logo. Obviously, Nike, not a good year for their superstar men's basketball players going down to Rio. LeBron, Blake Griffin, Russell Westbrook, Kobe Bryant, all Nike, but none of them going to Rio. And so, listen, everybody could say there's a conspiracy there, or maybe somebody's just bending over because they had a bad back at the instant the picture was taken. But it is interesting how much money the sneaker war generates, and you don't even know how much this was done in jest or not, but I will tell you that it's really good for the industry to talk about this stuff, to be, with all of the companies competing against each other, more money for teams, players, even agents, God forbid.
Yeah, God forbid we'd give them any more money. Following in the footsteps of the other Power 5 conferences, the ACC is finally set to launch its own network. I got to imagine this is a hit the minute they put it on the air, and the ad prices probably won't be cheap either, right?
Well, in the ACC, and obviously when ESPN does things, they think about it just like NBC and everybody else, but they thought through how powerful the ACC is now on the football side. You know, Florida State used to be, now it's Clemson and everybody else. But they extended a deal. They'll go through a 20-year rights extension deal through 2036. Now, I don't know about you, but I just want to be standing 2036. So the 24-hour digital and then linear, and a revenue-sharing agreement that accounts for about 95% of overall revenue between the ACC teams based on the SEC model. So get ready for another major network to coincide with these successful other networks surrounding conferences.
Rick Horrow is with us. We talk the business of sports with the professor, and I found something absolutely fascinating in the Horrow Sports Brief this week, and that's Under Armour being one step closer to having a new headquarters in its hometown. It looks like UA has purchased the land in Baltimore where it plans to build a $70 million headquarters. It includes at the Port Covington waterfront site about 50 acres, including 8 acres that are currently underwater. What in the world are they building, and what are they going to do with the underwater part?
Well, they'll equip divers with sneakers. No, obviously, they'll have to figure out how to take advantage of that. But listen, knowing Kevin Plank, he will. His private real estate firm paid back the dollars that were originally used for this. It's about 3.5 million, 4 million square feet in total. It's a $70 million, as we said, headquarters. It would be the gateway to Baltimore and Under Armour, and you're generating big-time dollars for the city as a tourist attraction, as well as the headquarters of a major apparel firm. Kudos to Kevin Plank and kudos to Under Armour, and we'll figure out what they do with the underwater property. You know, the old line of selling underwater property in Florida to you. Well, I wouldn't mind this, Pete, because you know he's going to do something good with it.
It's got to be a bridge for sale in there somewhere as well. Let me ask you this question. I'm going off the sports brief here, but I'm looking at DeAndre Hopkins, and this guy's got the same deal basically that J.J. Watt had. 4-year deal as a rookie. The team loves J.J. After 2 years, they tear up the other 2 years, give him a new deal. Along comes DeAndre Hopkins, same thing. Rookie deal, 4 years. First 2 years are stellar. Should they pay him or let him sit?
I think they probably ought to let him sit if frankly, he makes the noises that contracts are to be ignored. There's a lot of reasons why a team does what they did. It's not just because they're altruistic. They want to protect the guy and lock him up long term, and that's the trade-off. But
and that's what they need.
It's a business deal.
Yeah.
It's a business deal.
Thanks, Rick. We'll talk to you next